What if the perfect partner you've been searching for all your life was hiding in the most unexpected place? This is the tale of Prince Delius, a young and noble royal, whose life has been defined by privilege, duty, and the weight of his father's expectations. As the heir to the throne, Delius's mission is clear. Find not just any bride, but a woman who embodies not only beauty but also wisdom, kindness, and a heart pure enough to rule by his side. The kingdom, vast and diverse, is filled with women who possess many of the qualities Delius seeks. His journey takes him from grand palaces to humble cottages, through bustling cities and quiet villages, in search of the one who is both his equal and complement. Along the way, Delius encounters women who are dazzling in their beauty, charming in their wit, and striking in their intelligence. Yet, each time he believes he has found the one, something is missing. A connection that goes beyond the surface, a deeper bond that neither beauty nor charm alone can fulfill. As days turn into weeks, and weeks into months, the weight of the quest begins to bear down on Delius. Doubt creeps into his heart. Will he ever find a woman who is not just fit for the throne, but fit for his heart? The pressure mounts as the hope of finding a perfect match starts to fade. His determination begins to waver, and the burden of his royal duty feels heavier than ever. The expectations of his father and the future of the kingdom rest on his shoulders, and the fear of failing both weighs him down. But just as Delius is on the verge of giving up, when the idea of settling for a life without true love starts to seem like his only option, fate intervenes in the most surprising way. In a remote part of the kingdom, far from the grandeur of the royal court, Delius encounters someone who defies all his expectations. A shepherd girl named Hariri. Unlike the women he has met before, Hariri is not adorned in fine silks or jewels, nor does she possess the refinement of a lady of the court. Yet, there is something about her, an inner beauty, a quiet wisdom, and a strength of character that immediately captivates Delius. As he spends time with Hariri, Delius begins to see that true wisdom is not always found in books, nor is true beauty always wrapped in luxury. Hariri's intelligence is rooted in her understanding of life, her empathy, and her ability to see the world with clarity and kindness. She challenges Delius in ways no one else has, making him question not only his own assumptions but also what truly matters in life and love. But the path to true love is never easy. Delius is torn between his heart and his duty. Will the royal court accept a shepherd girl as their future queen? Will his father, the king, approve of a match that defies tradition and expectations? And more importantly, will Delius have the courage to follow his heart, even if it means going against everything he has been taught to value? As the story unfolds, the suspense lies not only in whether Delius will find true love, but whether he will recognize it when it stands before him. In a world where appearances often deceive, will Delius see past the surface and grasp the rare and precious gift that is being offered to him? Or will he allow societal expectations and his own doubts to let true love slip through his fingers, forever lost in the sands of time? In a kingdom where tradition and honor reign supreme, the name of Prince Delius was often spoken with a mixture of affection and curiosity. Unlike his older brothers, who were celebrated for their victories on the battlefield and their skill in governing the land, Delius was known for qualities that set him apart. His intellect, his gentle demeanor, and his insatiable curiosity about the world and its mysteries. Born as the youngest son of the wise and aging king, Delius grew up in the shadow of his more formidable siblings, yet he never felt overshadowed. His strength was not found in the clash of swords or the command of armies, but in the quiet strength of his mind and the depth of his heart. The kingdom was vast, rich in history, and steeped in traditions that had been passed down through generations. It was a land where honor was valued above all, where the royal family was expected to embody the ideals of wisdom, courage, and virtue. The king, who had ruled with fairness and compassion for many years, was acutely aware of the different paths his sons would take. His elder sons were destined to lead armies, govern provinces, and uphold the kingdom's laws. But Delius, the dreamer and thinker, was destined for something different, something more profound. The king, though proud of all his sons, harbored a special concern for Delius. He understood that his youngest son's path would be fraught with unique challenges. While his brothers could rely on their physical strength and political acumen, Delius would need a partner who could complement his intellectual nature and gentle spirit. The king, in his wisdom, knew that the woman who would stand beside Delius must be more than a traditional bride. She must be a true partner, someone who could engage with him on the deepest levels of thought and feeling, someone whose wisdom and virtue could guide and support him through the trials of leadership and life. And so, with a heavy heart but a clear mind, the king summoned Delius to his chambers. The air in the room was thick with the unspoken knowledge that this meeting would set the course of Delius's future. The king's voice, though tinged with the frailty of age, carried the weight of authority and paternal concern as he presented his son with a daunting task: to travel across the kingdom and seek out the most clever, kind-hearted, and virtuous woman to be his bride. This was not merely a quest for beauty or status, but a mission to find a soulmate who could stand as an equal to Delius in every sense. The gravity of the task was clear. This was no ordinary quest, where the rewards were tangible and immediate. The woman who would become Delius's bride would need to possess qualities that were rare and precious: intelligence that could challenge and inspire him, kindness that could warm and sustain him, and strength of character that could withstand the inevitable trials and tribulations of royal life. She would need to be a woman who could not only walk beside Delius as a wife but also as a confidant, advisor, and friend. In her, the king hoped to find someone who could see beyond the crown, beyond the trappings of power, and love Delius for the man he was, not just the prince he was destined to be. As Delius listened to his father's words, he felt a mixture of emotions. There was a sense of honor in being entrusted with such a vital task, but also a deep apprehension. How would he find such a woman? The kingdom was vast, and while he had met many women of noble birth and high status, none had ever captured his heart or engaged his mind in the way he now realized he desired. Delius understood that this quest would take him far from the familiar comforts of the royal palace, into unknown territories both literal and metaphorical. It would challenge him to look beyond the surface, to seek out qualities that were not always visible to the naked eye, but were essential to a lasting and meaningful partnership. The journey ahead would be one of self-discovery as much as it would be a search for a bride. Delius would need to confront his own ideals and expectations, to discern what truly mattered to him in a partner, and to recognize the qualities that would make a woman not just a suitable bride, but a soulmate who could share in the burdens and joys of life. The stakes were high, for the choice he made would not only shape his own future but also the future of the kingdom. And so, with his father's blessing and the weight of the kingdom's expectations upon him, Prince Delius set out on his quest. The road ahead was uncertain, the challenges unknown, but within Delius burned a quiet determination. He would search every corner of the kingdom, leave no stone unturned, and look beyond the superficial to find a woman whose heart and mind could match his own. In doing so, he hoped to fulfill not only his father's wishes but also his own deepest desires for love, companionship, and a true partner in life. With the king's blessing and the weight of his future resting on his shoulders, Prince Delius embarked on his journey, a quest that would take him to the farthest corners of the kingdom and beyond. This was not merely a physical journey, but a spiritual and emotional odyssey as well. A quest to find not just any bride, but the woman who could stand beside him as an equal, a queen and a soulmate. The path ahead was uncertain, fraught with challenges and unexpected encounters, but Delius was filled with a sense of hope and determination. He believed in the wisdom of his father's words and was resolute in his mission to find a partner who embodied the ideals of beauty, wisdom, and virtue. The kingdom over which Delius would one day rule was vast and diverse, filled with villages, towns, and cities, each with its own unique culture, traditions, and people. As he traveled from one region to another, Delius was struck by the rich tapestry of life that made up his future realm. He met women from all walks of life, noble women who were well-versed in courtly manners, peasant girls who possessed an earthy charm, and learned women who could discuss philosophy and literature with ease. Yet, as diverse as these women were, none seemed to possess the perfect blend of qualities that Delius was searching for. In one village nestled in the lush green hills, Delius encountered a woman of unparalleled beauty. Her face was like a delicate flower, her eyes sparkled like the morning dew, and her smile could light up the darkest room. She was admired by everyone in the village, and many believed that she would make a perfect queen. But as Delius spent more time with her, he began to see a side of her that was hidden beneath her stunning exterior. She was vain, overly concerned with her appearance, and cared little for the struggles of those around her. Her conversations were shallow, revolving around trivial matters, and Delius found that her beauty, though breathtaking, could not compensate for the lack of depth in her character. He realized that while beauty was a desirable trait, it was not enough to sustain the kind of partnership he sought. In another town, known for its scholars and thinkers, Delius met a woman who was wise beyond her years. She had spent her life studying the great works of philosophy, history, and science, and her mind was a treasure trove of knowledge. Delius was impressed by her intellect and enjoyed their deep, thought-provoking conversations. Yet, despite her wisdom, there was a coldness to her demeanor, a lack of warmth and compassion that made Delius uneasy. She approached life with a calculating mind, analyzing every situation with logic but never with empathy. Delius found that while he respected her intelligence, he could not connect with her on an emotional level. He needed someone who could balance intellect with kindness, someone who could understand and share the emotions that were an integral part of his own nature. As the journey continued, Delius encountered more women, each with her own set of admirable qualities. There was a woman who was incredibly skilled in the arts, her music and poetry able to move the hearts of all who listened. Yet, she was fickle in her affections, easily swayed by the attention of others and lacking the steadfastness that Delius desired. Another woman was known for her bravery, having defended her village from bandits with courage and resourcefulness. However, her bravery came with a hardness that left little room for tenderness or the nurturing spirit Delius hoped to find in a future queen. The more women Delius met, the more he began to understand the complexity of the task before him. He had set out with a clear idea of what he was looking for. A woman who was beautiful, wise, kind, and strong. But he soon realized that finding someone who embodied all these qualities was far more difficult than he had anticipated. Each woman he encountered seemed to excel in one area but fall short in another. The process of meeting and evaluating these women forced Delius to confront his own expectations and to question what truly mattered in a life partner. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, Delius's hope began to wane. The initial excitement of the journey was replaced by a growing sense of doubt. He had traveled through bustling cities, where the noise and activity were overwhelming, and through quiet hamlets, where life moved at a slower, more peaceful pace. He had climbed treacherous mountains, where the air was thin and cold, and crossed wide rivers that seemed to stretch on forever. With each step, he was reminded of the enormity of his quest and the uncertainty of its outcome. The prospect of returning to his father empty-handed began to weigh heavily on Delius. He could not bear the thought of disappointing the king, who had placed so much trust in him. More than that, he feared that he would never find the woman who could fill the void in his heart, the woman who could walk beside him through the challenges of life and rule alongside him with wisdom and grace. Delius had always been a man of deep thought, and as he journeyed across the kingdom, he spent many nights lying awake, pondering the nature of love, partnership, and what it meant to truly connect with another person. Despite the growing doubts and the challenges he faced, Delius refused to give up. He knew that true love was not something that could be easily found, but he believed that it was worth fighting for. The promise he had made to his father and the desire to find a partner who could share his life kept him moving forward, even when the path seemed most uncertain. He reminded himself that the journey was as important as the destination, that each encounter taught him something new about himself and about what he truly valued in a partner. And so, with a heart that was both heavy and hopeful, Delius continued on his journey. He traveled through forests where the trees whispered secrets of the past, across deserts where the sand shifted like the uncertainties in his mind, and over hills where the horizon seemed to stretch on forever, a reminder of the endless possibilities that still lay ahead. Though his hope was dwindling, there remained within him a small, stubborn flame of determination, a belief that somewhere out there, the woman he was searching for existed, waiting to be found. One day, after weeks of arduous travel and countless disappointments, Prince Delius found himself in a small, peaceful village nestled in the mountains. This village was different from the bustling cities and towns he had passed through. The air here was crisp and clear, filled with the scent of pine trees and wildflowers, and the gentle hum of nature created a serene atmosphere. The villagers went about their daily lives with a sense of contentment and simplicity that Delius found soothing, a stark contrast to the often chaotic and pretentious environments he had encountered elsewhere. As Delius wandered through the village, observing the people and their way of life, his attention was drawn to a hillside where a young woman was tending to a flock of sheep. There was something about her that immediately set her apart from anyone he had met on his journey. She moved with a natural grace, her actions purposeful yet unhurried, and there was an air of quiet strength about her that intrigued him. Her beauty was undeniable, but it was a beauty rooted in her connection to the land and her surroundings, not in the superficiality that he had so often encountered. This woman was Hariri, a shepherd girl who had lived in the village her entire life. Though her origins were humble, Hariri possessed a keen mind and a heart full of wisdom. She was well known among the villagers not just for her skill in tending the flock, but also for her ability to resolve disputes with fairness and her deep understanding of the land. Her knowledge of the stars, the changing seasons, and the rhythms of nature was unmatched, and many sought her counsel when faced with difficult decisions. Despite the simplicity of her life, there was a regal air about her, a quiet dignity that commanded respect. As Delius approached her, he felt a sense of calm wash over him, as if he had finally found what he had been searching for all along. He introduced himself, not as a prince, but simply as a traveler passing through. Hariri greeted him warmly, her eyes reflecting a depth of understanding that took him by surprise. They began to talk, and what started as a casual conversation quickly evolved into a deep and meaningful exchange of ideas. Hariri spoke with intelligence and insight about the world around her, the importance of living a life of virtue, and the wisdom that could be found in even the most ordinary of experiences. Delius found himself captivated by her words. There was a clarity in her thoughts that resonated deeply with him, a sense of purpose and understanding that he had not found in anyone else. As they talked, he realized that Hariri embodied all the qualities he had been seeking: beauty, intelligence, kindness, and strength. But more than that, she possessed a wisdom that went beyond mere knowledge. She understood the essence of life in a way that few people did. As the sun began to set and their conversation drew to a close, Delius felt a pang of doubt. How could he, a prince, ask this simple shepherd girl to marry him? The differences in their social status seemed insurmountable, and he feared that she would never consider leaving her peaceful life to join him at the palace. Despite the connection he felt with Hariri, Delius was unsure of what to do next. His heart was heavy as he bid her farewell, the thought of leaving her behind filling him with a deep sense of loss. Yet, as he walked away, he couldn't shake the feeling that Hariri was the one he had been searching for all along. The simplicity of her life, the wisdom in her words, and the strength of her character had touched him in a way that nothing else had. But now, Delius faced a new challenge: how to bridge the gap between their two worlds, and whether he had the courage to follow his heart, regardless of the obstacles that lay ahead. As Prince Delius continued his journey through the kingdom, the image of Hariri was ever present in his mind. Her face, her voice, and most of all, her wisdom haunted him in the best way possible. He found himself comparing every woman he met to her, and each one fell short. The beauty of noble women, the charm of court ladies, and the intellect of learned scholars, all paled in comparison to the quiet strength and genuine kindness that Hariri embodied. Yet, as much as Delius yearned to return to her, the thought of doing so filled him with a deep sense of dread and uncertainty. The doubts that gnawed at him were not just about Hariri's feelings. They were also about his own worthiness. Despite his royal lineage, Delius had always felt like the least of his brothers. They were warriors and statesmen, confident and decisive, while he was more introspective and gentle, a thinker rather than a doer. The very qualities that set him apart and made him special in his father's eyes now seemed like weaknesses in the face of the monumental task before him. What if Hariri didn't see him as strong enough? What if she didn't want to leave her simple yet fulfilling life to marry a prince, even one as humble as he? These questions plagued Delius, making his steps heavy and his heart even heavier. He began to lose hope, feeling as though the quest his father had set him on was destined to end in failure. The fear of rejection was almost paralyzing. What if Hariri, the only woman who had ever truly understood him, turned him away? What if she valued her freedom and independence more than the life he could offer her? These thoughts tormented him day and night, making the prospect of returning to her simultaneously irresistible and terrifying. But Prince Delius was not one to give up easily. His father had taught him the value of perseverance, and his journey thus far had shown him that the greatest rewards often come from the greatest risks. The memory of Hariri's wise words, her serene presence, and the way she had looked at him with those knowing eyes gave him the strength to push through his fears. He realized that he would never find peace if he didn't at least try. The uncertainty of not knowing what could have been would be far worse than facing rejection. With renewed determination, Delius turned his horse back toward the village nestled in the mountains. The journey back felt both longer and shorter than before. Longer because of the anxiety building within him, and shorter because of the anticipation of seeing Hariri again. As he approached the village, he noticed the same peaceful atmosphere that had struck him on his first visit. The villagers, still content and busy with their lives, greeted him with the same warmth and simplicity. But Delius's heart was pounding as he searched for Hariri. He found her sitting by a stream, her flock of sheep grazing nearby. The setting sun cast a golden glow over the landscape, making everything look almost magical. Hariri was watching the water flow gently over the rocks, her expression peaceful and her posture relaxed. As Delius approached, she looked up, and he saw a flicker of surprise in her eyes, quickly replaced by her usual calm demeanor. Delius sat down beside her, feeling the weight of the moment pressing down on him. He took a deep breath, gathering his thoughts and his courage. Hariri, he began, his voice trembling slightly, I have traveled far and wide, searching for a woman who is clever and good, someone who can be my equal and my partner in life. I have met many women, but none of them are like you. You are wise, kind, and beautiful, and I have fallen in love with you. But I am afraid. I am afraid that you will not want to marry a poor prince like me. As he spoke, Delius couldn't help but notice the intensity of Hariri's gaze. She listened to him with an openness and attentiveness that only deepened his feelings for her. When he finished, the silence that followed was almost unbearable. Delius's heart pounded in his chest as he waited for her response, fearing that he had overstepped or misunderstood her feelings. But then, Hariri smiled gently, a smile that reached her eyes and warmed his heart. Prince Delius, she said softly, her voice carrying a soothing melody, I am honored by your words, and I can see that your heart is true. But know this, I do not care for wealth or titles. What matters to me is the goodness of a person's heart and the strength of their character. You are a good man, Delius, and I would be proud to stand beside you, not as a princess, but as your partner in all things. Her words were like a balm to Delius's troubled soul. The fear that had gripped him so tightly began to loosen its hold, replaced by an overwhelming sense of relief and joy. Hariri's acceptance of him, not as a prince but as a man, was everything he had hoped for. In that moment, all of his doubts and fears melted away, leaving only the certainty that he had found the woman he had been searching for, the one who was not just his equal, but his perfect complement. With tears in his eyes, Delius took Hariri's hand, feeling the warmth of her touch grounding him in the reality of the moment. Thank you, he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. Thank you for seeing me for who I am, and for choosing to be with me. I promise you, Hariri, that we will face whatever challenges come our way together, as partners and as equals. Hariri squeezed his hand, her smile never wavering. We will, she agreed, her voice filled with quiet confidence. And together, we will build a life of love, wisdom, and strength. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a final golden hue over the village, Delius knew that his journey had not been in vain. He had found what he was looking for, not just in Hariri, but within himself, the courage to follow his heart, the strength to face his fears, and the wisdom to recognize true love when he found it. The marriage of Prince Delius and Hariri was a momentous occasion, though not in the traditional sense of royal grandeur. The ceremony took place in the small mountain village that had been Hariri's home for her entire life. Surrounded by the lush landscape and the people who had watched Hariri grow into the wise and compassionate woman she was, the wedding was a celebration of love that transcended social status and material wealth. It was a simple affair, without the extravagance of palace decorations or the pomp of courtly rituals, but it was filled with genuine joy, warmth, and the kind of happiness that comes from deep mutual respect and understanding. The villagers, who had always admired Hariri for her wisdom and fairness, were overjoyed to see her marry someone who truly appreciated her for who she was. They showered the couple with blessings, not because Delius was a prince, but because they could see how much he loved and valued Hariri. The entire village participated in the celebration, bringing homemade gifts and food, and sharing stories of Hariri's many acts of kindness. The laughter and music that filled the air were a testament to the genuine affection the villagers had for Hariri, and by extension, for Delius. When the ceremony was over, and the vows were exchanged, there was a sense of completeness that settled over the gathering. The union of Delius and Hariri was not just the joining of two individuals, but the merging of two worlds, one of royal lineage and another of humble origins. The king, who had traveled to the village to witness his son's wedding, was deeply moved by what he saw. In Hariri, he recognized not just a daughter-in-law, but a woman of great wisdom and strength, someone who would stand beside his son not only as a partner but as a guiding force. The king, known for his discerning nature, welcomed Hariri into the royal family with open arms, seeing in her the very qualities he had hoped his son would find in a wife. Upon their return to the palace, Delius and Hariri were met with a mixture of curiosity and skepticism by the courtiers, who had expected the prince to marry someone of noble birth. However, it didn't take long for Hariri to win over even the most critical members of the court. Her humility, intelligence, and genuine concern for others quickly became apparent, and she soon earned the respect and admiration of everyone she met. Hariri's influence extended beyond the palace walls. She became beloved by the people of the kingdom for her fairness, compassion, and the innovative ideas she brought to governance. Together, Delius and Hariri formed a formidable team, ruling the kingdom with a balance of justice and mercy that was rarely seen. The challenges they faced were many, as they had to navigate the complexities of royal life, the pressures of governance, and the expectations placed upon them by their subjects. But through it all, their love and respect for each other never wavered. Delius, who had always valued Hariri's wisdom, often sought her counsel in matters of state, and together they made decisions that were in the best interests of the people. Hariri, in turn, leaned on Delius's kindness and empathy to guide her in dealing with the often harsh realities of ruling a kingdom. Their partnership was one of equals, each bringing their strengths to the table and complementing the other in ways that made them both stronger. Over the years, they were blessed with 7 sons and 7 daughters, each one a reflection of the love and wisdom that had brought Delius and Hariri together. They raised their children with the same values that had guided their own lives: kindness, humility, and the strength that comes from standing by one another. The royal household, once a place of rigid protocol and formality, became a home filled with laughter, learning, and love. Delius and Hariri made it a point to teach their children not just about the responsibilities of royalty, but about the importance of understanding and compassion for their subjects. As the years passed, Delius and Hariri's love only grew stronger. They faced the ups and downs of life together, supporting each other through difficult times and celebrating the joys that came their way. Their bond became a source of inspiration for their children, who watched in awe as their parents navigated the challenges of life with grace and unwavering support for one another. The love between Delius and Hariri was not just a romantic ideal. It was a living example of what it meant to be true partners in every sense of the word. Their reign was marked by peace and prosperity, as they ruled the kingdom with fairness and compassion. The people admired and respected them not just as their rulers, but as a couple who embodied the very best of what it meant to lead. Delius and Hariri's legacy was one of love, wisdom, and strength, and their story became a cherished part of the kingdom's history, passed down through generations as a tale of true love and partnership. In their later years, Delius and Hariri often reflected on the journey that had brought them together. They knew that their love had been forged not just in the moments of joy and happiness, but in the challenges and trials they had faced together. As they watched their children grow and their kingdom flourish, they felt a deep sense of fulfillment and peace. Their love, once a fragile hope, had grown into something unbreakable, a bond that would endure beyond their lifetimes. And so, as they continued to rule their kingdom with wisdom and compassion, Delius and Hariri knew that they had truly found their happily ever after. Their story, a testament to the power of love, wisdom, and mutual respect, would live on in the hearts of their people, a shining example of what it meant to find and cherish true love. The story of Prince Delius and Hariri is a timeless narrative that resonates far beyond the boundaries of its fictional setting. It speaks to universal truths about love, partnership, and the qualities that truly matter in a relationship. At its core, this tale is not just about the romance between a prince and a shepherd girl, but about the deeper, more enduring aspects of love that make it meaningful and transformative. Prince Delius's journey was not just a physical quest across his kingdom, but also a journey of the heart and mind. He set out with the understanding that his future queen needed to be more than just a figurehead or a symbol of beauty. She had to be someone who could stand beside him as an equal, sharing in the responsibilities and challenges of life. This search for a partner who possessed both inner and outer beauty reflects a deeper longing that many of us share. The desire to find someone who truly understands us, who can support us in our endeavors, and who enriches our lives with their wisdom and kindness. Hariri, the shepherd girl who captured Delius's heart, symbolizes the idea that true worth is not determined by social status or wealth, but by the strength of one's character and the depth of one's understanding. Despite her humble origins, Hariri's intelligence, wisdom, and compassion made her the perfect match for Delius. She was not just a passive recipient of the prince's love, but an active participant in their partnership, bringing her own unique strengths and perspectives to the relationship. Her ability to see beyond titles and material wealth, and her focus on the qualities that truly matter, serve as a powerful reminder that love is about connection, mutual respect, and shared values. The challenges that Delius and Hariri faced together, whether it was overcoming doubts, societal expectations, or the practical realities of their differing backgrounds, illustrate that love is not always easy. It requires courage to confront fears and uncertainties, honesty to communicate openly with one another, and a willingness to work together to overcome obstacles. Their story teaches us that love is not just a feeling, but a commitment to supporting one another through life's ups and downs, to growing together, and to building a life based on trust, respect, and shared dreams. Moreover, their tale is a reminder that love, when nurtured with care and understanding, has the power to transcend all barriers. Delius and Hariri's union was not just a personal triumph, but a testament to the idea that love can bridge gaps between different worlds, bringing together people from different walks of life and creating something beautiful and enduring. Their love story is an inspiration, showing us that when we choose to love deeply and sincerely, we can overcome even the most daunting challenges. In today's world, where superficial qualities are often emphasized, the story of Delius and Hariri encourages us to look beyond the surface and seek the qualities that truly matter in a partner: kindness, wisdom, compassion, and integrity. It reminds us that true love is not about finding someone who fits a certain ideal or image, but about finding someone who complements us, who brings out the best in us, and who stands by us through thick and thin. As viewers reflect on the journey of Delius and Hariri, they are invited to consider what they value in their own relationships. Are we seeking partners who align with our values and support our growth, or are we getting caught up in external appearances? The story encourages us to prioritize what truly matters in our search for love, and to recognize that the greatest treasures in life are often found in the most unexpected places. Ultimately, the story of Prince Delius and Hariri leaves us with a profound message. True love is not about the grandeur of a wedding or the wealth of a partner, but about the strength of the bond that is formed between two people who see and appreciate each other for who they truly are. It's about finding someone who challenges us to be better, who supports us in our endeavors, and who walks beside us as we navigate the journey of life. Their story is a beautiful reminder that when we find such a love, we have found something truly precious, something that will endure through all the trials and triumphs that life may bring. The story of Prince Delius and Hariri is rich with vocabulary that goes beyond the usual everyday language, delving into themes of royalty, emotions, and the challenges one faces in life. As you listen or read, you'll encounter words and phrases that describe the intricate feelings of love, doubt, and courage, as well as terms related to the regal world of princes and kingdoms. Understanding emotions through language. Words like determination, compassion, humility, and resolve are key to expressing complex emotional states. By learning and using these words, you can articulate your own feelings more precisely. For example, understanding the difference between compassion and pity, or humility, and modesty, can help you convey more nuanced emotions in your conversations. Royalty and status. The story also introduces vocabulary associated with royalty and social status, such as monarch, sovereignty, nobility, and regal. These terms are not only important for understanding historical and fictional narratives, but also for discussing cultural differences and societal structures. Incorporating these words into your language use can broaden your understanding of the world and improve your ability to discuss various topics in English. Life's challenges. Words like adversity, perseverance, destiny, and resolve reflect the challenges that Prince Delius and Hariri face throughout their journey. By familiarizing yourself with these terms, you can better describe your own experiences and the obstacles you encounter in life. These words are particularly useful in storytelling and personal narratives, where conveying the depth of a struggle or the triumph of overcoming it is essential. Practical application. To make the most of this vocabulary expansion, try to incorporate these new words into your daily conversations or writing. Practice using them in different contexts to ensure that you fully grasp their meanings and connotations. For example, you might write a short paragraph about a challenge you faced, using some of the vocabulary from the story to describe your experience. By focusing on vocabulary expansion through this story, you'll not only enhance your English language skills but also deepen your understanding of the themes and emotions that drive meaningful narratives. This approach will enable you to communicate more effectively and with greater precision in both written and spoken English.